I never liked you from the start. There's no place here for a fat monster like you. Go home.
On my brother's wedding day, my brother's bride showered me, who was pregnant, with a tolerance of abuse. It was my dear brother's wedding. I really wanted to attend. But after being told off like this, even I couldn't bear it. The situation took an unexpected turn after I declined my brother's wedding. My name is Emma, 30 years old. I'm a working mother juggling part-time work and housework. I married my husband, Theo, who is 2 years older than me 3 years ago. He is a buyer and salesperson at a major department store. Due to his fresh appearance, his sales performance at the department store is always good. We wanted a child from the start, and just recently, after fertility treatments, we were blessed with our long-awaited first child. I was particularly thrilled when I found out I was pregnant because I desperately wanted a child with the man I love. When I told my husband, he too was overjoyed and jumping for joy. Theo, it looks like we've finally been blessed. What? You mean?
Yes, it's our child. I'm finally pregnant.
Really? Wow! I'm so happy I could cry.
My husband hugged me and said thank you with tears in his eyes. Since then, we've been looking forward to the day when we can meet our child who will be born soon. In the midst of all this, there was one more person who was eagerly awaiting the birth of my child. That was my older brother, Hugo. Since we were little, my brother, who is 4 years older than me, has always adored me. That hasn't changed even now that we're adults and we, as siblings, are still close. Of course, I had also told him about the fertility treatment. So when I announced my pregnancy to him, he was as happy and tearful as my husband. I heard that even our mother at home was so ecstatic she couldn't believe it. Whether it's about marriage or pregnancy, my brother always wishes for my happiness. And I love my brother just as much. One day, 2 months into my pregnancy, I received a call from my brother. What did you want to talk about, Hugo? Upon asking him right away, my brother scratched his head embarrassedly and said,
Well, I'm getting married.
What? Getting married? You, Hugo? Hugo went to boys' schools in middle and high school, and even in college he was in the science department, which had few women, so I never heard of him having a girlfriend. He didn't even respond to any of the arranged marriage meetings our parents had suggested a few times. I think he has a good-looking face, but his shy personality has been a big problem, and he was always the type who was distant from women. And now, all of a sudden, he's getting married. I really couldn't hide my surprise.
I guess it's no wonder you were surprised, huh? If someone suddenly tells you something like this.
Well, yeah, so what's she like?
She's 3 years younger than me, so 1 year older than you, Emma. Her name is Mila. We met through work.
Through work?
Well, she's the daughter of president of a company I deal with.
The president's daughter? Wow, do things like that really happen, like in a drama? As I opened my eyes wide in surprise, my brother chuckled and said, You are exaggerating.
Even though she's the president's daughter, she also works hard at her father's company. Since we are both getting on in years, we decided to get married sooner rather than later.
Seeing my brother unusually serious, I felt a warm feeling in my heart. I was glad that my brother, who has always wished for my happiness, finally had someone important in his life. 1 month later, my brother came to our apartment with his fiancée. Nice to meet you, I'm Mila. I'm dating your brother. Hugo's fiancée Mila was a beautiful woman with a good style, exactly the type of a career woman. I felt deeply that she was a person from a different dimension than me. Nice to meet you, Mila. I'm Emma, his sister. Oh, so you're the little sister. After Mila responded to my greeting, she looked at me intently. I felt as if I had been glared at for a moment. But was it just my imagination? But it seemed like that premonition was correct. After that, she didn't talk to me much and kept talking to my husband instead. Theo, you were amazing, working at that long-established department store. Suddenly engaged in conversation by her, my husband responded with a flustered,
Well, yeah.
I haven't been able to go to department stores lately. If I go shopping next time, could you pick something out for me?
Sure, thank you. I'll be waiting for you.
This fiancée, her attitude towards my husband and me was obviously different. Moreover, it seemed as though she was sending a sticky gaze at my husband. But I didn't want to ruin the mood, and most importantly, she was the one chosen by my brother. Just as my brother had wished for my happiness, I also wanted him to be happy. I didn't want to ruin my brother's happiness for a silly reason like her being cold. Despite feeling many suspicions, I said nothing. Since then, Mila has been visiting the department store where my husband works frequently. Today too, my husband came home and started to grumble with a sigh. Mila came to my place again today. What, again? I'm sure she came yesterday too, right? Yeah, it's nice that she's buying a lot of stuff, but... Even when I'm dealing with other customers, she just butts in. The other salespeople are also troubled. It's a bit frustrating. I had no idea that was happening. According to my husband, she apparently spends tens of thousands of dollars every time she shops. While it's good for the store, my husband was worried, saying, no matter if she's the president's daughter, isn't her sense of money a bit off? Several months later, the long-awaited wedding of my brother came. By this time, I was in the later stages of pregnancy, and my belly had grown noticeable. The once-in-a-lifetime wedding of my beloved brother. I'm sure it will be a wonderful ceremony. My heart was dancing from the moment I left the house. I was wearing the maternity party dress I had bought for this day. The incident happened when I arrived at the venue and was headed to the reception. I'm Emma, the groom's sister, and this is my husband, Theo. When I gave our names to the woman at the reception, she looked troubled. You're the sister, right? Yes, Hugo's sister. That's strange. The next moment, she said something unbelievable. We were told that the sister will not be attending. What? What are you talking about? I'm the groom's sister. Of course I'm attending. But we were told that the groom's sister will be absent due to a prior appointment. Wait a minute. There must be some mistake. Both my husband and I are definitely attending. Theo's name is on the guest list, so he's participating. It seems that the only person marked as absent is the sister. What? Caught off guard by that unexpected event, I was at the loss for words. Instead, my husband asked the receptionist, who gave you the information about my wife's absence? It was from Mila, the bride. Mila did? My husband's expression stiffened as if he had guessed something. He demanded to the reception, please call Mila here. Soon, Mila and a woman who appeared to be her mother showed up. To confirm the truth of the matter, I confronted Mila. Mila, what's going on? I've been marked as absent. Oh, that? Well, that's how it is. Wait a minute, I never said I was going to be absent. Then she gave a snort of laughter and said calmly, I couldn't care less about your opinion. You were in the way. So I decided you wouldn't participate. Understand? What are you talking about? To begin with, I never liked you. Mila, what are you? Just because you have a somewhat handsome husband and brother, you act so innocent. I didn't like you from the moment we first met. Despite your plain face, the name Emma is too fancy for you. You are a hindrance to my happiness. Do you understand? I thought she was cold only to me, but I didn't expect to be hated this much. My body froze and I couldn't find the words to speak. Looking down on me, she spat out coldly. Didn't you hear me? You are in the way. There's no seat for a pregnant monster like you, so go home. I was speechless, but the surprises didn't stop there. Following Mila, even her mother started saying things that made me doubt my ears. Mila is right. It would be a nuisance if a frump like you were at Mila's wedding. It's pitiful enough that Mila has to become family with you. Mila came at me, who was turning pale, saying, Go home now! Can you leave quickly because you are in the way? You are an eyesore, ugly pregnant monster! At the moment, the anger I had been holding back exploded. Just as I was about to retort, my husband raised his voice instead of me. What the hell are you saying to my wife? I never thought Mila would be so rude. That's enough. Let's go home, Theo. What? Are you sure? I don't want to be here anymore. Let's go home. I forcibly pulled my husband's arm and left the venue. Serves you, right? Mila and her mother continued to hurl abuse until the end. Several hours later, my brother rushed into our house. Emma, Theo, Mila did something terrible. I'm truly sorry. I asked my brother, who was apologizing with a sorry look. It's not your fault, Hugo. What happened to the ceremony?
I asked the guests to leave in the middle of the ceremony. I couldn't possibly continue the ceremony after what happened to my little sister.
Right, that was a wise decision. But why? Why did Mila do such a thing to me?
Well, I was shocked when I heard about it too.
What? Then my brother quietly opened his mouth.
It seems Mila was jealous of you.
What? Jealous?
You and I have a good relationship as siblings, right? On top of that, Theo is quite handsome. She seemed to have been annoyed with you, who were at the peak of happiness being pregnant, for some reason.
What's that? Was it because my husband was handsome that she repeatedly shopped more than necessary at my husband's department store? I couldn't find any more words to say for such a stupid reason. While caring about me, my brother continued to talk.
She didn't like the attention being drawn to you, a pregnant woman, more than her own wedding. All the guests would naturally talk to you, the pregnant woman, wouldn't they? Asking things like, how many months are you? Or you look so happy. She seemed to have hated that.
I can't believe it. Just for that reason? My brother, who was busy with work, seemed to have left all the preparations for the ceremony to her.
When I tried to say something, I was told that the bride is the main character of the ceremony. I couldn't interfere.
So he didn't even know that I had been made absent with my consent.
I'm really sorry for hurting you. It's my fault.
My brother apologized again. The next day, we were told by our mother to come to our parents' house, and we hurriedly headed there. There was Mila's father, who looked furious with a red face. With his daughter Mila and wife in tow, he seemed quite grumpy.
Hey Mila, don't you have something to say to Emma?
When her father urged her in a cold tone, she clicked her tongue and threw a tantrum. Why should I have to apologize? I'm the main character of the ceremony.
You, cut it out.
At this point, Mila's mother interjected, seeming to side with Mila.
That's right. Why should Mila have to apologize? The one at fault is all this woman.
Mila and her mother, showing no remorse, looked like demons. Then Mila's father opened his mouth tremblingly.
You guys, who are you talking to? What are you saying to these people?
He looked devastated.
I'm really sorry for what my daughter and wife have done. Please, I beg you, can't you forgive us for this incident?
No matter how much he apologized, it was impossible to forgive them. I spoke out against Mila's father. How can we forgive you? I couldn't attend my dear brother's wedding, you know. Do you think we can forgive you after all the terrible things that were said?
Oh my, I'm in trouble. If you don't forgive us, our company...
Yes, the father was apologizing just to protect his own company. The company run by Mila's father is a wholesale dealer dealing with imported goods, and has a business relationship with my brother's company. But in this case, my brother was furious and directly requested his boss to stop dealing with that company. That's why he is begging me, his sister, for forgiveness, hoping to resume business with my brother's company. I didn't know that my brother's company had such power, but apparently in terms of status, my brother was above Mila, even though she was the president's daughter. The father was desperately apologizing as much as possible, but I could see through his intention of ultimately is to protect the company, which made me even more uncomfortable. There's no point in talking any further. I firmly told Mila and her family, I will never associate with you again. If you marry my brother, I will break off ties with him too. Wait a minute, my father is apologizing so much. Don't you have a human heart? I glared sharply at Mila, who was verbally abusing me. A human heart? The one who stirred up trouble can talk. Who should be apologizing? Don't make your father apologize so desperately. Your stupid selfishness has ruined my brother Hugo's happiness. A woman like you doesn't deserve my brother. Know your place, you trashy woman. With those words, I kicked Mila and her family out of my parents' house. Afterwards, I heard that my brother and Mila had broken off their engagement. She was kicking up a fuss, saying, I don't want to break up, and in the end, my brother had to hire a lawyer. As a bonus, my brother arranged for a consolation payment for me. I was reluctant, but my brother told me it's the least I can do to apologize, and I gratefully accepted. The misfortune of Mila's family continued, and her father's company eventually went bankrupt. It seems they couldn't keep up the business after my brother's company, which was the backbone of their operations, stopped dealing with them. In this incident, they lost everything. Looking back, it was really their own doing. It's only natural that she, who could easily spout such abusive language, would face such retribution. On the other hand, I successfully gave birth and I'm living happily every day. My brother seems to have recovered from the broken engagement and comes over to my house almost every day to dote on my daughter.
Hugo, switch with me.
What, Theo? You've been holding her all this time, haven't you? Please, I'll be leaving in an hour. Oh well, can't be helped then, haha. My husband and brother were competing for my newly born adorable daughter. Listening to their pleasant conversation, I felt a warm feeling in my heart.